Hi everyone, it's Elizabeth here. So I wanted to make this video in regards to some thoughts that anything and everything in this life is replaceable. So you are replaceable and anything on this planet is replaceable. I think if you start to analyze nature, nature tends to replace itself, not only through the death and rebirth process of leaves falling off of trees and then the tree grows it again. So technically, it's like replacing itself and recycling itself. But everything in this life is replaceable. And I think a lot of people kind of go through life with blinded innocence. And sometimes it's really sweet because they really have, I guess like just an innocent viewpoint on life. And they don't really realize that they're replaceable at their jobs, and so is everything else on this planet. I work a lot with people who work at Amazon, or I train a lot of people who work at Amazon, and some people, when they sign up to work at Amazon, their boss tells them that they are replaceable, and that's why they have such a high stress work culture, is because these people are living in chronic fear that they're going to be replaced if they don't perform to a high level of degree and get good marks on their performance reviews. So a lot of spiritual texts talk about this. They talk about it in yoga as well as in Buddhism. I'm sure there's something in Christianity as well, but you kind of have to go through life that nothing is permanent. I mean, our physical body is a temporary experience. Some people's physical body lasts 6 months. Other people, their bodies last 92 years. We obviously don't know the end point, but there is a beginning and there is an end. And everything that's in between can be taken from us. I had the rug pulled out from underneath me at the time of the separation with my ex-husband and I'm not sharing this in terms of it being like a poor me situation. I'm sharing this in terms of an example so you guys can learn through me and my life experience and then apply this stuff to your own life. But basically, everybody I think was kind of hopped up on political rants and such between 2016 and 17, and I honestly thought I would lose my freedom of speech prior to losing my marriage, and that was like one of the biggest kind of blow ups in my face, but one of the biggest learning lessons that, oh my God, even if the love is so powerful, that this can be a temporary experience. I mean, hopefully I get married again, but, if you do get married to somebody else, and if you guys have the sweet romantic death where you die in bed holding each other's hand, I mean, technically that is the end point of that marriage when one or both partners die. So although it might be a lifelong marriage from the moment, you say your vows to the time that you die, that is still somewhat a temporary experience because death is a part of life. Don't think that you're not replaceable at your job. And I think a lot of people, especially working for the government, I worked for the government, a lot of these people kind of coast along for 20, 30 years and they think they're not replaceable. And then when things have to start to change because the budget is, blown and people have to do budget cuts, it's like, oh no, your job is replaceable no matter how long you've been there and how loyal you are. That's the one thing interesting today about the work culture in America is like there's no such thing as loyalty. I've started off with certain fitness companies as a volunteer, and I've dedicated 6-7 years of my time with them, eager to learn and to grow. And I've told them that, like, I want to grow with this company. I want to do more in continuing education. And you know what? In 2018, I didn't get my contract renewed. It's because I am replaceable. It hurt. It was a bummer of an experience, but the company was going in a different direction of just wanting to work with MDs, RDs, and NDs. And, it's like, well, I'm just a personal trainer. There's nothing I can do about it. So I just want you to use these thoughts to analyze them in your own life. So you just can't go through life being blinded, naive, and so innocent. And I say that because I've been there, and I think sometimes some of us are programmed more naturally to be naive than other people, and I can definitely be like that. But Dating is a very temporary experience. Like, there's no guarantee that this will work out, especially once people start to kind of flush out their needs and wants and things like that. And your coffee table, I mean, you could buy the most, look at California, you could buy the most beautiful house and have it all, and then some wildfire comes through and takes away all of your possessions. You could be walking home from the bar at 1 in the morning as a solo female and get raped and murdered on your way home. I mean, this is the world that we live in. It's very unfair, it's very uncruel. So what I mean by this is that when you can get this, I guess, frame of mind around everything is temporary, you stop taking things for granted and you start caring about things more, and you want to kind of cultivate some of these relationships a little bit better. Right now, after I've gone through the dark night of my soul, from like things like divorce, I will not take anybody for granted. I put my efforts in, especially to make it reciprocal, so it's not a one-sided friendship, or it's not a unrequited love type of thing. And then at some point, when it does become one-sided, or I'm doing all the effort and the other person's just bullshitting around, it's like, then you kind of have to cut the cord, because that's not worth your energy anymore. And maybe it's, those type of people, they're so flighty and flaky and non-committal that it's just not worth your energy, because there's energy in versus energy out. But a lot of people just kind of live through life so blindly, and they just don't really, and this is where it's like the rise of narcissism and the lack of empathy is coming in. It's because people don't get it. They just think like, oh, just because this girl or guy likes me, like, it's going to work out. And then, it's like, if you're always scheduling stuff around your schedule and not considering the other person's, time or thoughts or feelings, it's like, of course they're going to walk away. And that's a big lesson to you, because everything is temporary, especially if you don't put the energy and effort into it. So it makes you appreciate things a little bit more. I feel when you can understand that things are temporary, you're more grateful for certain things. Like, I'm at a point now where it's like, when it's harvest season for, say, certain fruits that are not year-round, like rhubarb or apricots, it's like, that is such a precious gift from nature that we shouldn't take that for granted, because it's a very momentary experience to have that kind of nourishment in your life. So these are just some thoughts that I have. Definitely don't think just because you're doing great stuff at your job that you're irreplaceable, because you are. Your car is replaceable. Your spouse can easily replace you with somebody else. There are so many things in life that are replaceable that, don't go through life blindly and just taking things for granted, because one day it will blow up in your face, and that is a very huge spiritual learning lesson in life. All right, thank you so much for listening. If you can help me build this channel, please subscribe below. Also, you can support me on Patreon if you believe in my message and my voice. And thank you for liking, sharing, and subscribing. See you guys later. Bye.